Okay, this is just a quick wrap-up video to talk about what happened. This goes in the books, obviously, as a decisive Axis victory. They accrued 5, 8, 9, 12, 14, 17 victory points. They only needed 12. They got 5, 8, 9, 12 victory cities, so they got all the victory points only in victory cities. But then they got World Oil 1, Atlantic Wall, South Asia, Third Reich, and Japanese Empire. What's interesting, however, is that the Allies did have an opportunity to win it in the last couple of turns. The attack on Japan was probably doomed. They would have had to get remarkably lucky rolls in order to make that work. They just got wiped out there just massively. So there was very, very little chance there. However, the attack on Italy was actually something that could have succeeded, and had it succeeded, it really could have turned the tide of the game. Now, would it have been enough to knock off 5 victory points, I think? It would have been able to knock off quite a few, because here's the thing. Obviously, it would have knocked off Rome as a victory point, because they would have joined the Allies. And it actually, with all of the territory that Italy controlled, again, some of them would have turned German, right? Anything with German units in it would have turned German. But there were enough Italian-only units on the board to drop the Germans below the Third Reich victory point. So that would have been interesting. Also, with Italy liberated, they could then have liberated France on their turn, which would have given back Paris. They also could have not necessarily taken Normandy, Bordeaux, but used their planes to kill at least one of these guys, which would have taken away the Atlantic Wall bonus. And there were a few other places around the board where they could have done something. They had a tank in Albania that ended up attacking Greece. That could have taken Romania. And then, of course, they wouldn't have taken the Caucasus on their turn. So that would have been World Oil 1 gone, because the only oil ones that the Axis hold are 3 of the 4 money islands, because Japan lost one right down there. So they would have taken that victory point away. So World Oil 1, Hitler's Atlantic Wall, Third Reich is 3, Paris is 4, and Rome is 5. That would have brought them down to 12. So it still would have been an Axis win, but it would have been a heck of a lot closer. And if we could have figured out a way to find another victory point somewhere, who knows? The other thing that was unfortunate, and this is a move in hindsight that I saw, is obviously the move to kill the last ships in C-Zone 54, even with the blockers up, using the 2 fighters from the carrier, was a good one. And what I should have done was moved the fighters from Celebes to Queensland to have a scramble to protect the ships, because if the ships were live, then they maybe could have taken the Philippines. And if they did that, that combined with the Italian victory could have given them enough for an Allied win. So there were actually opportunities. I mean, this game absolutely looked like a runaway with what happened, of course, in Moscow. I mean, it was pretty bad news for the Axis, or for the Allies, sorry, in terms of what happened in Moscow. But again, the United States and Russia were denying Japan certain things in this area. The resources thing was really never available for them, because they only have, right now, they only have 2 of the 5. Now, if there were a turn 9, they definitely could have got the Urals, because obviously German tanks right here. But there is no turn 9, and that's an important thing. So this Russian and American presence in Korea and Manchuria was good. And China survived remarkably well over the course of the game. That certainly Japan thought at times that it was going to be able to roll over and get the China bonus, but they never did. That was also a victory point. But that never happened. So what's interesting is, a 17 victory point win for the Axis is a massacre by any stretch or by any measure. But there definitely were opportunities for the Allies to get back into the game. And it is unfortunate that some of the rolls just went badly. And again, there were mistakes made. I will say that I did not play the Americans very well, and I certainly did not play the Russians very well. I think I should have fortified Moscow, obviously, a lot more than I did, and I don't think I should have taken those pokes at some of the tank stacks, because I think that obviously wasted a lot of defensive pieces. But that pretty much was an inevitability. The heavy tanks for Germany is an interesting choice for them. They can do a lot with that. Anyway, my battery's going on this, so that's the game. It wasn't quite the same after my opponent conceded halfway through, but I did play it out, and it was a lot closer than probably it should have been. But in the end, Axis victory, and that was interesting. I really like this map. I really like this rule set. I look forward to playing the next game. All right, bye-bye. Thanks a lot.